So, Tony, if you could just tell us a little bit about this exhibition and project, please.
So the exhibition and project, it's about documenting and looking at the ancient and veteran trees that are on the Sculpture Park site, because within the Wakefield district, the largest portion of ancient and veteran trees are here in this managed landscape. So it's really about documenting that and encouraging people to have a look at these wonderful trees themselves.
So how many drawings have you done?
So far, there's been 30 drawings, so there's 15 trees, and I've drawn each tree in summer and winter. And there's a few extra drawings because I got some of the trees wrong. So I've drawn a tulip tree down there which isn't veteran or ancient, but I got the wrong markers. And there's another lime tree which I drew as well. I spent a good 12 hours drawing the wrong tree. But it's a nice drawing, it's a lovely tree.
Yeah, nice practice.
Nice practice.
So how do you draw? What do you use?
So the drawings are done on iPad, so they're digital drawings. Normally I would use a sketchbook and pen and paper, but for these trees, because the size is so wonderful and the detail so rich and varied, that I wanted to get more and more detail. So I found using an iPad, I can then zoom in to parts of the trees and get even more finer twigs and more finer details on. So they're all done digitally.
Amazing. Yeah, I noticed that when I was looking at the exhibition, like from afar, it kind of, the drawings look like a silhouette almost. And then when you go closer in, you can really see that detail. It's really, really beautiful. So do you feel like you've learned a little bit more about trees doing this exhibition?
I hope so. I think so. Because I've learned, certainly by looking at the inventory, I've learned how to document ancient and veteran trees, about the signs to look for. Because part of the project, as well as documenting and drawing the trees that exist on the inventory now, I've been trying to find new ones. So I've learned how to measure and document those. There's a beech tree over there, which is recently added. And also I've been lucky to work with the estates team here. So Mark, who's head of estates, is very knowledgeable, and the whole team are. And they've been going out looking for trees on my behalf and pointing me in the direction of possible new ones. And they've been telling me a bit about how they manage the trees and how they care for them, and the steps they have to take to make sure that they're kept in the beautiful condition we see here.
Yeah, it was interesting. I know we were talking before about you said there's 8 estate managers on.
Team of 8.
Team of 8. And just this project really looks at like the cross between conservation or looking after nature and then art as well. So it's really, really good. So why did you pick here to do this?
Many years ago, I went to art college here. So in the middle of the Sculpture Park, there's Bretton Hall, and that was an art college. And so I came here because I wanted to study art, and I'm from a kind of rural area. And so when I saw that there was a place like this to study art in, I became enchanted by it. So I came for an interview here, and I didn't really know where this place was. I'd seen it on the map. So I walked across the deer park to find the college with a big roll of canvases, and so a lot of the trees I've documented I would have passed on my way to interview there. And so I kind of become very familiar with them. So when I wanted to do this project, this was like coming home. So I kind of revisited a place that I spent my student life, and actually quite a lot of my professional life has been working around this area. So I picked this place because it has the greatest concentration of veteran ancient trees in the district, but also it is like home.
So were any trees challenging to draw?
There's a wonderful, if very straggly, ancient ash tree, and it's surrounded by small low fencing, and it's incredibly detailed because it's throwing off lots of new branches all the time. It's very, very old, but it's still very much alive. So you're drawing lots and lots of finer branches that ancient trees tend to grow at that kind of stage in their life. So that was challenging because it looks unusual. It's all hollowed out, so it's quite opened out. So it doesn't have what we would think of as a traditional tree shape of a long, narrow trunk and beautiful crown. This just grows all over the place. So it's very beautiful to me, but when you're drawing it, you're thinking, this just looks wrong. So that was a very challenging tree, but it's a wonderful example of an ancient tree and how they grow and what they look like.
Have you got a favourite tree, or is there one tree that you really enjoy drawing compared to others, or maybe another tree that you didn't?
There's a favourite tree to draw. There's a fabulous veteran lime tree, which we'll see just further up the park, and that's got a lot of branches right down to the ground, so you can't really see that it's a tree at all. It's just this massive foliage. It looks like it's almost like a strange creature that just is squatting on the ground. It's a beautiful thing. But in there, when you do it at winter, you can see it's the trunk, you can see it's the tree, but in summer it is just this riotous mass of colour and massive leaves. It's a beautiful thing.
What are the key differences that you see when you're drawing a tree in winter to then in summer?
All the trees were drawn originally in winter because you can get to see the shape, you can get to see the form of it, and you can really see them as sculptural objects, which for this setting of the sculpture park is really quite apt. So you really get to see how they've grown and why they've grown in the direction they have. You can see the damage because when they get old and aged and veterans, they start losing limbs. So you can get an idea of the structure. But then when it becomes summer, it's just glorious to see the abundance of life that they have in them and the wonderful kind of shades and tones and textures of the leaves and the canopy. So it's great to see that change. And when I'm talking to people about some of the sketches of the trees in winter, people tend to assume they're dead. So they're looking at this sketch and saying, why did you draw a dead tree? It's like, it's not, it's just that's what it looks like at this time of year. Come back in 3 months' time and you will see a completely different tree.
Why are ancient and veteran trees so important?
I think they give us a kind of a grounding, a sense of our own place in time. We very rarely don't really notice trees as much as we should, and when we realise how old they can be, and we're looking at trees that are, so for example, 400 years old, or they may started growing in Elizabethan times, and it gives us an idea of their lifespan and how our lifespan's quite short, and we need to kind of think beyond our own lifespan. And so the care of ancient and veteran trees, we're caring for things that future generations are going to enjoy. So I think it helps us to be a little bit less selfish when we start thinking of the world as being not just our own lifespan.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than that.
Yeah. I feel like your exhibition really encapsulates that because it like captures the tree in that time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. Do you want to describe the tree behind us a little bit?
So behind we've got a veteran cedar of Lebanon. There's quite a few cedars like this in the sculpture park, but this is the only one that's reached that stage. And the wonderful thing about it is, because it's an evergreen tree, so all the trees I drew in winter and then in summer, so with winter without the foliage and in summer they have the foliage, this one continues to have the foliage all year round, but I've still drawn it in winter and summer because all the trees had to be documented the same way, but you can't see that much difference in it between summer and winter. Slightly shaggier in summer, but that's what that is. It's a cedar of Lebanon.
Well, thank you so much for showing us around today. It's been really special seeing these trees and seeing your artwork.
Thank you. And the exhibition's open at the Yorkshire Sculpture Park until the 13th of July.